Hello, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for your ears. A little late to the party, but this is a review of 2022's Werewolf by Night. I was kind of saving this Marvel special presentation on Disney Plus till closer to Halloween. And it's Devil's Night, October 30th. Seemed like a good time to break this out. It was at like 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I wasn't too worried about not liking it, but it just seemed a little early when it came out at the beginning of the month for me to watch it and, feel Halloween-y about it. Gail Garcia Bernal, Laura Donnelly, Harriet Sansom Harris, and a variety of other characters do their best to recreate those old 50s horror movies in black and white. It is an MCU property, but it doesn't really have a whole lot of connective tissue as of yet, but this is supposed to be the first of something new for the MCU. The biggest deal for me about it was Michael Giacchino. He's a composer. He's done Star Wars movies, Disney movies, all sorts of movies. He's a great composer, well known as a composer, and he directed this. And, well, he also did the music, of course. So the short version is, if you have Disney Plus and you haven't watched this yet, it's fantastic. Watch it. It's in black and white. It's only an hour long, and it feels like one of those old 50s things you grew up with, but it does have a decent amount of gore, some decent fight scenes, some decent horror-type stuff, and it's all well acted and well done. That's the short version. I literally just finished it, but I did see a review. I looked up a couple things right before I rolled tape, as they say, before I started recording this live, that somebody knocked it for not being all that when it was done. That it was kind of light. Does everything have to be endgame now? I mean, seriously? I think it's a big deal that they made something that would arguably be called rated R. And did this, it's mostly horror. It does get really funny. I don't want to get into spoilers, but it is pretty funny. So it basically tells the story. We follow Gail's character into Jack, into an area where he's with other hunters, and they're obviously this fringe side of the MCU that fights monsters. This is what they do. That's, Avengers takes care of this, and this is what they do. So the leader of this group has died, and someone has to take over the mantle, the Bloodstone, and be the leader of this group of hunters. And a woman shows up. She's the daughter of the guy who died, but we really don't know anything about her at this point. So they tell them they're going to have to fight a monster. They're going to release a monster. It's going to be a tough one. They're going to hook the Bloodstone to it, and they have to kill the monster. Whoever kills the monster will become the new leader. And that's what you get for 55 minutes, 53 minutes, something like that. I thought it was a lot of fun. At first, it has a very gray look to it, but that's black and white. There's so many variations, because when you finally get to see Jack at the front door and his pants are like so midnight black in, 4K HDR streaming, it was pretty impressive. The different variations of gray, how much trouble they went to make this black. It's not just like they flipped a switch and just took all the color out of the picture. It was obviously filmed to be this way. And the only color you see is the Bloodstone. And it looks great. It was a great choice. Matter of fact, when I looked up pictures for what I'm going to put as the podcast cover for this, the cover of the soundtrack is black and white with that red glow. And it really looks good because that's the only color. Anyway, I think Michael Giacchino did an incredible job directing it. Oh my goodness. Every trick in the bag, from old movies to modern movies. And the werewolf, when we finally get to see a werewolf, kind of looked like the David Naughton werewolf from American Werewolf in London. I thought that was pretty cool. It's great to see some of these other fringe Marvel characters. That this was a Halloween special presentation experiment that was only an hour. I think it achieved its goal. There was more violence. Well, to a certain extent. The blood is in black and white, so that's why they could get away with it. And the really, really gory stuff, somebody's arm gets cut off, but you don't see the bones and the tendons and whatever that you'd see in a horror movie. This is still Disney Plus and the MCU. But it does lean much more rated R, especially with blood hitting the camera and stuff like that. I thought it was well acted. Harriet Sansom Harris, her character was married to the leader. She goes pretty much over the top, but she goes over the top most of her characters. And I think she's great in the film. Gail Garcia Bernal, he's great. Laura Donnelly, who I didn't know who she was playing at first. I think she's great and did some pretty amazing action scenes. Everybody else is good at it too. And when you finally meet Ted, I thought that was pulled off really well too. And won't give you any spoilers there. So should you watch it? Well, this goes back to my usual streaming review. If you're already paying for Disney Plus, why haven't you watched it yet? It'd be a perfect Halloween treat. So check it out. Werewolf by Night, part of the MCU. Supposedly, it's all going to lead to Blade and some other stuff. We'll see. For Scott Hamilton, I'm ROCKFILE. Happy Halloween. Have a wonderful week. And thank you for listening.